I had zero wholesale experience, zero connections, and a Faire shop that had been live for weeks with absolutely nothing happening. So I sat down, I wrote 8 emails to boutiques I had never met, and hit send. One of them responded, and that turned into $126 of revenue for the BM Edit. And it taught me more about how wholesale actually works than anything I had read or watched beforehand. Today I'm walking you through exactly what I did. The product sheet, the Faire setup, the retailer research, and the email finally. If you are trying to get your work into shops and don't exactly know where to start, stay here. Hi, I'm Brooke. I run the BM Edit, a Gulf Coast art and stationery business based in Gulfport, Mississippi. I make coastal wildlife, art, postcards, greeting cards, stickers, and I'm looking into expanding even further when the time comes. I'm documenting every part of growing my business in public, the wins, the losses, the mistakes I made, to try to help you not make those same mistakes when you're growing. Here's the thing that nobody explicitly tells you, but it makes tons of sense. You can't pitch your products to businesses if you have nothing to show for it. So one thing you need to make sure you have is a wholesale site. Now granted, you can set this up on your own website and vet retailers as you get them, but one thing I like is the fact that Faire Wholesale is what I use for my wholesale site, and they take a lot of the guesswork out of it. I would describe it kind of like Etsy, but for wholesale purchases. So you put all of your information in, and you actually have to go through an approval process to become a retailer with Faire. You have to prove that you have a business license, a website. You basically have to have a full working business before you can actually start with Faire. And they go through this whole vetting process to ensure that you are a real retailer before you can actually get approved. And then once you get approved, you just have to upload your entire product catalog. And it, like I said, it's a lot like the whole Etsy upload process. So if you've done that before, you kind of know what to expect. In terms of offering your products through Faire via wholesale to other retailers, is that they use net 30 and net 60 terms, which basically in the business world means that you send them your product and they have to pay it within 30 days or 60 days, depending on whether it's net 30 or net 60. It's not super fun because you're just kind of like in limbo kind of until you get your paycheck. That's why it's really great to work with businesses that you know are pretty stable, so that way you can ensure that you do get paid. But they take care of all of that for you and put it in your account with obviously some processing fees. It's a really great thing because it takes a lot of the accounting guesswork out of it for you. But you can't just jump on Faire and immediately start selling. It is a bit of a timeline that you have to follow. It takes at least a week to get approved and get your shop live on Faire. I think it took like a day or so to get actually applied for Faire. I think it took a day or two to get approved, and then it was supposed to take like a week or a week and a half for my shop to become live. I'm live on Faire now, and I've made my first sale, and I am absolutely elated and sharing that process with you. So basically, just try to plan ahead and try to start working on getting everything handled with Faire at least a month before you want to start reaching out via wholesale. It's a full process, but it'll be really rewarding when you're finally done with it. The important thing, which I'm sure you've already probably thought about, is that you don't need to actually start pitching to these retailers until your page is fully built out. You don't want to send them a list of all the products you offer and only half of them are actually available on your site. So definitely plan ahead and make sure you have everything completely set up on Faire for them to purchase before you start pitching to people and them purchasing your products. I had no idea what a wholesale product sheet was supposed to look like before I started. And to be completely honest, I'm still refining mine, trying to find the best ways to change it up and make it the most useful for businesses that I'm sending it to. But my current version, the version that's still a little rough around the edges, is actually what got me my first wholesale sale. So here's what I include for each product. I do product photo, product name and SKU, the size of the product, and the product type. So it's a 4x6 postcard, a 5x7 greeting card. If I offer different size greeting cards, I could do it's a 4.25 by 5.5 greeting card, and just show those different kinds of sizes so that way people aren't confused when they're purchasing. I also include the wholesale price, so what the retailer would buy it at, and the suggested retail price, which is what ideally they would sell it at. And usually for wholesale pricing, whatever you would sell it for retail, you half it. So you want to make sure that you get a healthy profit with both retail and wholesale, because wholesale sales obviously kind of cut your profit, but it does give you larger volume orders that you can kind of count on within a certain calendar year. At the top of my page, I have the URL to my website, the direct URL for Faire, my contact info. I give them a short little 1 to 2 sentence intro about my business. And then on my product sheet, I've got some prime real estate over on the left-hand side. And I try to use that more so for additional information about wholesale, especially, although basically all businesses are aware of wholesale, they may not be aware of wholesale through Faire, and so I try to give them a little bit of information about wholesale through Faire, as well as directly stating my first order minimum, which is $100, and then my reorder minimum, which is $50. So that way they can kind of plan ahead with what products that they're wanting to buy. I also have some brief information of minimum order quantities and stuff like that. Like for each product I sell, you can't just buy one, because that would just be like buying retail. You have to buy at least 6 of each design. And so that way, for $100 for your first order, buying 6 of each design, it gets you about like 5 or 6 different designs, which is really great and gives you some good variety in your shop. I also have a note in the left margin because I have a lot of designs that would actually be really cute on other formats that I just don't currently offer, because I haven't found a good strong market for those formats. But I would love to, but if a retailer loves a design and would like it in a different format, like stickers, they can email me and we can work together to get that design available for them for their purchase. One thing I do love about that line is that it's not like a take it or leave it product catalog. It actually shows like the flexibility and that I can pivot and do things that could be helpful for a retailer, especially since I'm a much smaller business in the wholesale world. I'm trying to be a little bit more flexible. Although I haven't had anybody ask for those specific requests, I do like offering that possibility. The goal of this product sheet is to answer every question that a buyer may possibly have before saying yes. There's no formula for this, but there is a filter. Does my product make sense in their store? For me, that meant small art boutiques across the Mississippi Gulf Coast and across the nearby areas in Louisiana and Alabama, because all across this coastal area we have a very strong and thriving art community. I would recommend for your first batch of retailer outreach to reach out to at least 5 different businesses. Fewer than that, every single email feels so intimidating, but what I felt like after I've reached the 5 mark on sending it out to my first batch of wholesale, it felt less intimidating with each email, which I feel like just really calmed me for the entire process. And here's the thing that I think actually kind of helped improve my results. Do a little bit of research on your retailer and try to personalize the message as much as possible, because that actually can go a long way with some people. So for the email, keep it short. Your buyer is busy, you are busy. Respect that time. So here's the structure I use. To open, I say hello, and I try to personalize it to whoever I'm reaching out to. The about section for a lot of these smaller shops do outline who their owner is, so I usually just try to personalize it directly to the owner of the shop. Say hello, and I give them a 1 to 2 sentence intro of me and my business. Then I go into what I make and kind of where I feel like my products can fit in their shop. Sometimes I add where it fits and sometimes I don't. So it's definitely something to think about when you're writing the email. So this is where the personalization lives. Reference their shops, like mention the absolute name of the shop. You can mention a little bit about what you enjoy about their shop and how you think your products can complement what they already have. Then you move into the practical information, the opening order minimum, lead time, and a link directly to your Faire profile, so that way they can go ahead and start placing that order. And then to close, you want it to make it warm and low pressure. Basically, you're not demanding a response, you're just trying to make it easy for them to say yes. And so try to remove as many barriers of that yes as possible. Then attach your product sheet to the email and send it. Want at least one sentence of real personalization. Their name, their shop name, a little bit about their store, signals that it was an email that somebody put time into rather than a mass email. Will this work on the first try? It worked for me on my first try. It has worked for plenty of other artists repeatedly, but here's the honest math. The industry averages say that only 1 or 2 out of 100 cold pitches actually turn into customers. That means silence isn't failure. What actually hurts your results isn't a bad product sheet or a poorly written email, it's stopping too soon. Volume is the variable most people underestimate. Oh, I sent it to 20 people and I've gotten 1 response back and no orders. Keep going. Don't stop until you get that yes. Reach out and follow up with retailers 1 to 2 more times, because they may not have actually paid attention to your email the first time, but once you send them a return email and send them maybe a little bit more information, I think that maybe could help with conversion rates. Timing matters a lot. A retailer that maybe was fully stocked in March and didn't need to purchase anything may be running low on stock and looking for something new come May. That follow-up isn't pushy. You just want to make sure you time it well for retailers. That's the process: the Faire setup, the product sheet, the research, the email, even a little bit of information about following up with retailers. Rinse and repeat these rules until the numbers start looking in your favor. I hope seeing my product sheet really helped you out with making everything work for your business. My Faire shop is linked below if you'd like to go check it out if you have a business page, because they won't let you check it out unless you have a business page. But if you would like to check out what the retail side of my shop looks like, check out my Etsy, which is also linked below in the description.